Let's go. Welcome to the basement. Yo, it's safer down here, cause that 100 flow will leave you on the pavement. And most of y'all like, wait a minute. The stuff that I be thinking is the stuff that Timmy out here boldly saying. Bow your heads, close your eyes, say a prayer. God got purpose for your life, stay prepared. We went viral and we didn't know who cared. Shout out to all of y'all that clicked subscribe and shared. Hey, we are on our way. Deathbed confessions, this is all I'll say. Like my last $10, this is all I'll pay. The basement's all inclusive, this an all I'll stay. Believers, church hurt, atheists, agnostics, deconstructionists, and whatever your other optics. Press B and let's see what can be when we ask the Holy Spirit to come between you and me. Welcome to The Basement, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Tim Ross. The Basement is sponsored by Tome. Bring Tome home. If you want to raise your biblical IQ, I encourage everybody to download the app. Listen, I have content that I've partnered with Tome that I've partnered with Tome to do to raise your biblical IQ. So that Peace of Mind series that we have out with Michelle Williams, it's like 33 parts. Some of y'all have already gone through all 33 sections of it. I just want to salute you for being a finisher. You're not just a starter, you're a finisher. So thank you so much for that. And I got some other courses on there as well. I think it fits your budget. If you want to grow and be raised and do like amazing things, sometimes you need a guide. Come follow me. Come home with Tome. Listen, every time I do it, it cracks me up. I just get tickled every time. Hey, listen, y'all. This is the season finale. I don't have sound effects like Ruslan, so I just do them with. Maybe I'll beatbox later. But this is a season finale. Thank you for rocking with us. Season 2 has just been an incredible journey. Like, I've just loved everything that we have done. And for our season finale, I'm back where it all started. I am back in sunny Southern California, very close to the hospital I was born in, very close to the place that my parents brought me home, that apartment off Crenshaw and Arbor Vitae, however y'all want to say Vitae. I've heard it all kind of ways, and y'all can just figure out how you want to do it. But this is like a very special episode for me personally. Because my guest is someone that I have known for almost 3 decades, someone who I admire, I respect, I love, I adore. And before any of y'all knew me, before anybody knew who Tim Ross is and or was, before I knew who God would have me be, this woman who had and still has a show called Spiritual Connection brought me on her program when I was like about 13 months saved. So I'm fresh. I'm talking like goatee, silver herringbone, 2 diamond stud earrings. I know you still had a tape somewhere.
I wish I had that 3/4 inch tape.
Oh my
that's
goodness.
What it was then.
It was a 3/4 inch tape.
In a local cable television station.
Oh,
that's right.
My gosh. Listen, well, maybe I'm happy you don't have it. Like, praise God. The X-Files are hidden. Praise Jesus. We probably don't need it to come back out. All I knew is that this woman saw something in me that I didn't see yet, didn't know yet. And before TBN, before Daystar, before God TV, before YouTube, before CDs, preaching, before the internet, before any of that, you were the first person to bring me on broadcast television. And I wanted you here today to hear from me that my memory is not short. And what you did for me all the way back then prepared me for where I am now.
Wow, Timmy.
And
wow.
so, without further ado, my guest today is Jeanette Aguiar.
Wow, Timothy Charles Ross. My Timmy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You know, the blessing was truly all mine because God gave me the opportunity to handle greatness even before I knew it was greatness. You know, before the revelation came, I knew it. You know, you always sparkled to me. You shined even 13 months in because you were so committed right from the onset of your walk with the Lord that it was most admirable. I mean, you dug in deep. And just to have that opportunity to have you in my space for a time, you impacted our lives tremendously. And not only you, Tim, but your mom also. Mom Ross, my spiritual mom, who I can call on today. That lady is some kind of special.
She is.
And Pop Ross.
Yes.
You know, I became an honorary member of the Ross family. It
You
is
are.
all about that.
Yeah.
And I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for that God saw fit for our paths to cross, for us to connect and to remain connected.
Oh, my
after all
goodness.
these years.
So this one of the reasons why I was so happy that you were going to be on is because, you know, people know me now, right?
Yes.
But you have context, like you legit have a before and after picture. Like you know who I was before I got saved, when I got saved, and you've seen me grow through all of these periods. And it's like when you have someone that's been with you from the very inception, from the very beginning, there's just a deeper appreciation because at any time in my journey of faith over the last 26 years, it could have been easy to be like, ugh, that's an ugly duck. You know what I mean? I hope they turn into a swan because that looks like trash right now. Oh. Man, you were always so encouraging to me. You helped me get a job. I was working for animal control. Like I was legit going door to door. I was knocking on doors, checking people that I had a list of people that had pets. And my job was to go door to door and see if their pets were licensed, if they had proper licensure for their pets. I've never been cussed out so many times in my natural born life. I have never heard, I'm talking like, I've never seen middle class suburban America cuss this much. Just asking to see if your dog got a license. I mean,
I guess he didn't if they were cursing.
Well, they didn't because everybody was cussing.
Ooh.
It was like, I don't know. I guess that question should never be asked because I guess people just start cussing if you ask that question.
Okay.
I just turns like pet lovers into like demons. I don't know. They were bad. But like you took me out of that. Like it's one thing to support somebody and like, oh man, I hope it works out for you. It's another thing to be like, hey, you want a job? Like not like I know a friend that got a place that you could probably work. They own a McDonald's franchise and maybe you can be what was the dude on the McDonald's, the old school, Calvin. You know what I mean? You could be Calvin. You can come up like Calvin did. Jeanette worked for this place called JWT Specialized Communications.
Yes.
And all I remember is tear sheets and ads and all kind of stuff. I didn't even know to this day. I worked there for like almost a year. I still don't know what I did. I legit like, what'd you do there? Whatever Jeanette told me to. I don't even know if I did it right. I don't know if Jeanette wanted to fire me or whatever. But like you got me that job, then let me stay at your house Monday through Friday to get to that job. It wasn't like, man, I did you a solid. You got a job. Get there. Like you're like, you can stay with me and then we can drive in together and all that kind of stuff. And like, and you just didn't do it for me. You did it for Richie. You did it for Rob. You did it for like, I mean, Jody.
Yeah.
Oh my
Andrea
God.
got a job.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you was like the hookup artist. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's just, you've just always been this beautiful connecting person.
it warms my heart, Tim, to be able to help. The scripture that comes to mind often and that I live by is, if you see your brother have a need and you shut up your bowels of compassion, how dwelleth the love of God in you? And that means everything to me. And so it's difficult for me to see someone with a need and walk away. Homeless people disturb me. If I can directly help, if I've got an extra floor, an extra pillow, or however I can help, I wanted to do that. I know we have to be more cautious and cognizant in this day and time to a degree, but
you're right.
And I still help. I still help to this day. I have a family in my home, but it warms my heart because whatever I have, it's because God gave it to me. And if I can bless somebody else to partake of whatever He's given me, then that's worth living for.
Yeah, I agree.
That makes life worth living.
You went to King James to cite that reference.
Yes.
And the first thing I thought about is how many people, if your bowels of compassion are shut up, how many people are walking around constipated?
Ooh, come on now.
That's the first thing that popped in my head. Like, if your bowels of compassion are shut up, then there is generosity is literally constipated. There is a blockage and it does not flow because we live in a very cynical world now. Like, yes. People are just like, we squint eyes so quick what you need it for. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I got a sign. I need some money. I'm hungry. But what you gonna do with it? Though?
Right.
Like, does that matter? Like,
right. I might need a brew right now.
Listen, I love the transparency of the people that got the little
I need
signs that be like, hey man, I'm gonna keep it 100, man. I need Thunderbird.
Straight up to
life
to deal
ain't
with this.
Life ain't been good. I need a whole Colt 45.
Okay.
I need me a Schlitz malt liquor. I'm going to drink a 40 ounce and then I'm going to fill out my resume. But I need this drink first, fam. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, some people are like, some people are, it's,
I think, Tim, it's one of the reasons why there is so much poverty, so much lack.
Yep.
Is because we're walking around constipated. And those who have the wherewithal, who are able to reach out and be a blessing to somebody else, are not doing that. It's me, my wife, us four, no more sometimes,
for sure.
So I think if we all become more cognizant of how can I help, and it may not be much. It may be whatever you have that you can help someone with.
Yeah.
Is worth doing.
Yeah.
It's worth doing.
Yeah, like do your part.
Do your part.
I'm not telling you to like take care of this person forever.
Right.
But like do your part to at least get them down the street.
Yes, if you can be a bridge over troubled water.
Yeah, exactly.
Troubled water.
Why are they up to their neck trying to get over this? Just be a bridge.
Just be a bridge.
You might not get them to their final destination, but don't let them get wet.
But you know what happens with bridges a lot, Timmy? And I can call you Timmy.
Of course. You can call me Timmy for this whole thing. And if y'all hear me call her Janacita, that's just you talking about almost 30 years. So deal with this. But don't you call me Timmy, because we ain't like that. We ain't like that yet.
But bridges, Timmy, are often bridges are walked on and trotted on and trampled oftentimes. So it takes some strength and courage to be a bridge. And when someone is using your bridge, it's like, okay, where you coming from and where you going and why you want to use my bridge and why do you need my bridge to get there? So all intentions to use your bridge are not good intentions or healthy intentions. And I think discernment comes into play. Lessons come into play as people use you as a bridge and you are unaware. And then you find out in retrospect that, hey, I was just their bridge over troubled water. When they didn't come presenting themselves that way. I'm coming presenting myself to you as someone who admires you, maybe loves you, maybe want to marry you, And then you find out that, maybe I was just a bridge over troubled waters. 'Cause they gone now.
Yeah. I just
They on the other side.
I just helped you get on the other side. All right. So obviously I see everything you're saying. So,
I know.
So would it how do I want to pose this question? Do you think it would be better to be a drawbridge?
Ooh, come on now. I guess drawbridges are made for a reason. See, I never learned to lift mine up.
Right? I mean, a drawbridge
Yes.
is designed to let things go under it,
Yes.
and it kind of controls what goes over it.
You know, that's good to me.
Because it's like, yeah, I will come down for this,
Yes.
but I go up for this. Now, the misconception is, and I'm just talking as I'm looking at this picture,
Yes.
the misconception could be that, well, when the drawbridge is up, then you're walled off. And it's like this, no. It's up. It's still a bridge,
Yes.
but it's up, which means nobody has access to get over it right now.
Right.
But it's not a wall.
Right.
I think people that learn to be more cautious, I'm gonna use another word. I think people that learn to steward who gets to
Come across your bridge, or when I need to raise it. Yes.
they get labeled walls. When it's really, that's not a wall. You just don't have access.
Ooh, that's good.
You didn't pay the toll.
That's really, really good. And it takes some time oftentimes to learn and discern when to let that bridge up.
Yeah.
And lessons
Yeah.
is one of the things that that I have had before learning that now I do have a drawbridge, I've
for
learned
sure.
along
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah.
But unfortunately and regrettably, no, not regrettably, because, all things work together for the good of them that love
Yep.
the Lord, right? And
Yep.
who are called according to his purpose.
Yeah,
But we learn through the things we suffer
for sure.
oftentimes. And I've learned a lot through the things I've suffered.
Yeah.
But I never thought about the drawbridge analogy. That's very good.
Yeah.
very
No,
good.
that's like, I've never thought about it, but I'm like, yeah, a drawbridge is probably what we all need to be.
Yes.
So that we have a little more discretion before somebody gets to cross over.
That will save us so much time and energy and downfall, mistakes.
Yeah.
That will have us walking the path that God ordained for us without the detours.
Yeah.
Without having to make the detours because you've allowed someone on your bridge who when it should have been up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so listen, I've known you for a long time.
You know a lot of stuff.
I know a lot of
I'm
stuff.
telling you, you know my story.
Yeah, I know it. I know it. I would like some other people to know the story as well, because down here in the basement, we get to have this beautiful, this extravagant gift of people giving us their vulnerability.
Yes.
And so I want as many people as possible to have context to your story, your journey,
Yes.
what you've been able to overcome to be the beautiful soul that you are. Because there are some elements to your story that should have made you downright bitter. Like you should be a very bitter.
Instead, I'm better.
Right?
I'm better.
And that's a choice.
Yes, it is.
Right? That's
Yes,
not
it
just
is.
like, well, by default, because I went through bad stuff, I'm bitter. You get to choose whether you're going to stay bitter.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Naomi changed her name to Mara because she just wrote off her whole narrative. Right? Like my husband died, my sons died.
Yes.
And so
Call me Mara.
call me Mara. I don't
Yes,
want to go
yes,
by Naomi
yes.
no more. I'm going by Mrs. Bitterness. You know what I'm saying? And then God did something incredible in her life. And she's like, oh, I guess I got to take that back. Like, you know what I'm saying? I guess I'll be Naomi again, you know?
Yes.
And so I would like for you to just share your story.
Okay.
Yeah. Wherever you want to start it from. I don't have like no starting
first
point.
I want to say to you how godly proud I am of you, how honored I am to be here in the basement, how amazing that Tome app is, and I can't wait to delve into it some more. And I'm proud, and I'm grateful, and I'm honored, and I'm humbled. I know you have had some amazing guests in this seat, and some amazing guests are yet to come. And so I am just humbled, honored, and privileged to be sitting in the basement.
No, it's me. It's me. I'm the one honored. I'm the one honored.
In the
Thank
basement.
you. Thank you.
But
I
my
love you.
story, Timmy, my story, I wrote about it. I penned my book recently, The Grace to Walk Away, and God did that. He gave
Is that
me,
available?
It is available on Amazon.
Hey,
yeah,
The Grace to Walk Away by Jeanette Aguiar.
Yes.
Y'all go buy that book.
Yes, go buy that book.
Go buy that book, though.
And
yeah, we'll make sure it's linked.
Thank
right
you.
there. I just saw it in post.
You saw it?
I just saw it in post. Sammy about to do his magic. I'm doing stupid stuff again.
Thank you,
hey,
Sammy.
The Grace to Walk Away is right here. It's a beautiful link, Sam.
Yes, it is. It's
Beautiful
fantastic.
link.
Thank you,
Okay.
Sam.
All right.
Okay. So, Timmy, I have a difficulty knowing where to start too, but sometimes I think it's important to start from a foundation so someone can know what kind of foundation did you have.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, growing up. My mom and dad were divorced when I was very, very young, not even first grade yet.
Wow.
And so initially I lived with a next door neighbor whose dad was a principal. And so by the time we were 5, her mom was tired of me and her daughter, Allison, one of my best friends. And she sent us to school because her husband was the principal, so we could start school at 5.
Wow.
But anyway, so I stayed with Allison for a while when I was a kid. Allison had 2 brothers. I had 2 brothers. We did some crazy things when we were kids, like putting mayonnaise in each other's hair for using it for grease right after we had gotten it done and getting our butts beat. But anyway, so I lived.
And now people put mayonnaise in their hair for real. Y'all was just ahead of y'all time.
Man, how about that?
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't do it like that. We got a butt beat for it that time, though.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, so I lived with different relatives when I was growing up. It seemed whoever had space for me at that time. My mom was in New York, and so I didn't live with people who nurtured me and loved me. They just made space for me. And by the time I was in the 10th grade, my mom stabilized. And I preface my book with this, Timmy. It's not intended to be a negative reflection on anybody other than the powers and principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places.
Yep.
It's like everybody's been through something, and I don't
sure.
hold anything against anybody. It's all good. Everybody did the best they could with what they had when they could.
Yeah.
So anyway, my mom.
Can we slow down for a minute, though?
Yes.
On that?
Yes.
Because I think we've done ourselves a disservice in being able to share our experience because we fragilize the people that we've had the experiences with. And so what happens is we come short of telling the truth about our story as we experienced it because we've fragilize the people that are contributors to our story, right? And so to the point, and we've all done it. So I'm just pointing this out. It's like we're so quick to short circuit our experience by saying everybody did the best they could. They did, and it's not a but that goes there.
And
okay,
okay.
Everybody did the best they could. And my freaking mom left me with strangers. And
Yes.
Now, I love your mama.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I'm saying this thinking like I'm probably going to catch a shoe. Like, you know what I mean? I'm glad she ain't here because I'm thinking like a shoe might come out like, yaga, right? But I just feel.
I hear what you're saying, though, and I do that often to protect.
Yeah. And it's not a protection thing. It's more of a, hey, everybody did the best they can.
Yeah.
And
just that.
This is
that
how
word.
I experienced it. And this is how it affected me.
This is my side of
They
the
didn't
story.
do it on purpose.
Right.
This was like, nobody was like, I'm going to destroy Jeanette's life
Right.
before she's 12.
Right.
You know what I mean? I hope she has trauma forever. Like, nobody was intentionally, consciously, right?
That's right.
Doing this.
That's right.
But they did it.
But it happened.
It happened.
It happened, and I would be on the, I'd be looking at the railroad tracks back in South Carolina thinking about, okay, I think I can walk this track to New York because my aunt, who I lived with the majority of the time, was very mean-spirited. And I would sit in school all day thinking about, what is she going to fuss about when I get home today? What are we going to get this brown Bessie, this beating about today when I get home? So I made really bad grades when I was with her. I was like D's and F's when I was with her. Just
Well, you were in a very traumatized environment.
Without even realizing it.
Yeah.
Without realizing it. But by the grace of God, by the time I was in the 10th grade, my mom moved to South Carolina from New York and purchased a house finally, and then we all came together. But by that time, I was 10th grade, so I had 10th grade, 11th grade, graduated from school out of 11th grade, and started college before I turned 16. So.
Oh, yeah, you was trying to get up out of here. You was like, I'm about to get this education and scram. Y'all ain't about to.
Listen, I was running and didn't know where.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't know anything about walking, and just walking this thing out. I just was making the decisions as best I could without the direction and without the foundation that I felt I needed.
Yeah, for sure.
So at 16, I started South Carolina State College. I went to college. Just like, what else do you do at 16? You just go to school, right? I was interested in theater, so I majored in theater and communications, and I found that environment to be very nurturing. The Henderson Davis players at South Carolina State College, then it was, but now it's university. And the first assembly with the freshmen, I was nominated Miss Freshman.
Wow.
And that gave me some significance. It's
Wow.
Maybe I am okay. Maybe I'm somebody.
Yeah.
So, went through the freshman year and loved the arts and loved being a rehearsal and sound technician and a stage manager and all of this. It was just a good place to be. We would be there all night sometimes just preparing for the production, which were very professional.
Yeah.
Sam Wright and some other greats came out of South Carolina State, so it was very, very prominent school. So for the arts at that time. So following that was my sophomore year when I was voted to represent the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. So I was Miss A Phi A for the school and then for the state of South Carolina, and then went on to the national pageant. My pianist couldn't accompany me, so I was third runner-up at this national pageant.
Wow.
And then my junior year, I was Miss Henderson Davis player representing the theater organization, and then after that, it was the first runner-up to Miss South Carolina State College. So that was my journey through college, right? And I loved that environment and arena too. It did not, I believe, prepared me for the professional transition in the arts. I started working at a radio station when I was a junior and senior in college, and I loved it.
Yeah.
WDIX radio station and WQKI, right?
QKI.
No, DIX, Wave Dixie, okay?
Wow,
It was back
wow.
then. I'm dating myself. But it was when this Caucasian radio station needed a black person to meet their quota at that time. And so the director of the communications department recommended me for the job.
Wow.
And so I started with clerical stuff and then eventually went on air. One of the most crushing experiences I had was when the program director gave me an opportunity to do this ad for a real estate company. And then there was a call asking if I was black by the real estate company who was doing the ad. And so they pulled the ad because it was done by an African American person, and they did not sell to African American people. So I didn't get to do that ad. It didn't run long.
Okay, hold on though. This was a radio ad?
This was a radio ad.
Okay.
Edward L.
Oh, okay. I just take me slow.
Okay.
I'm not gonna take an offense.
Okay.
This is already in the past.
Okay. Yes, it is.
But I just need to process it.
All right.
I find you to have one of the most soothing voices I have ever heard.
Thank you.
Okay. And I remember the drills you used to do.
The titillate your appetite with Dottie's tasty tidbits, the delightful and vitaminized tea time dainties, artistically wrapped and double insulated in damp deterrent tinfoil. Dottie's tidbits are actually a preventative against acidity and flatulence. Do you doubt it? Then there's only one thing to do. Try Dottie's tasty tidbits today. In the basement. Try them in the basement.
In the basement. I remember the talking drills and the articulation and the enunciation. I remember all of that. And the fact that all this to say, you are obviously a beautiful black woman. You're stunning. You've always been that, right? You've aged like fine wine. You're the Felicia Rashad of your generation and your family, okay? Juliet would say the same before anybody is like, he flirting with her. You hush.
She's my sister girl.
You hush.
Yes.
So
she family.
She fam. So let me use the cultural term. How will they know? How were they ever gonna know? You didn't sound black.
Well,
your voice is cross-cultural, always has been, and these jokers didn't want a black voice. I can see if they were like you were about to be the print ad for their product. They didn't want a black voice. Do you know how? Just please let me go for 2.5 minutes.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you know how ratchet you have to be? Do you know the depths of your depraved discrimination? Do you know how far into the earth's core your racism has to be that a black voice is something that you need to screen? I'm just a little bit taken aback. Okay, I'm all right now.
All right now. So
what?
So Tim, maybe there were words at the time because this was many years ago, right? This was many years ago. And the program director did work with me to help to neutralize my voice. There were trips. When my mom was in New York, there were trips back and forth. During the summer months, I got to spend time with some relatives there. I got to work in one of my uncle's cleaners in New Jersey. I got to hear the difference between a Southern twang and the New York dialect.
Yep.
And I made a conscious decision when I was very young that I didn't want to sound like that. I want to sound like that.
So didn't want to sound Southern?
I didn't want to sound Southern.
You want to sound like?
I wanted to sound like that.
New York.
Yes.
You want that New York.
I didn't want the country sound. You know, I didn't want that. I didn't want to sound
right.
like,
You didn't want to sound like.
I didn't want to sound like that.
Yep.
Now I got whippings from the mean aunt and
whippings.
I got whippings.
I mean that accent came back quick.
It will rise up on you occasionally. Okay, it will rise up.
Yeah.
But yes, I did. I used to get whippings for wanting to sound better or different. I did. I used to get whippings when I was in church, after church, because people said, "Isn't she pretty?" And they think you pretty. Da, 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 da. I would get whippings at home after church, right? Just because I got compliments. People, here I am. I was about and people have their own issues and why they inflict their pain on you.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you are the scapegoat at that time.
Yep.
So, I was it for my mean aunt, I believed at that time. Wow. So, fast forward back to the radio station. So, okay, that commercial was pulled, and I would have people calling the station when I got on air asking if I was black or white, because
Because my ears ain't gonna let me get through this entire program. Is that one of them Negras down there? Is that one of them female Negras? I just want to know. My ears won't be able to handle it. I gotta know now. Is that Karen down there at that station? Is that a Jeanette or a Janetta? I don't know what they do with the words, and I don't know how they spell. But my ears can't have black voice in my head. I might wake up in the morning liking black people. And God forbid that happen. If that happens, then good Lord, what my son might fall in love with a black girl, and before you know it, I might have a mocha baby. Can't have nigger grandbabies. If I get some nigger grandbabies, this is what happened to the white race in 3 generations if I keep listening to black women in my ear canals. Now, I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to have it anymore. I just need to, is this a black girl in my ears or not? I might start dreaming black. I'm going to lose my Klan membership if I'm listening to black people.
Well, I was in South Carolina, I was in the deep South.
I'm turned up right now, fam. I'm sorry. Racism is stupid.
It is stupid, Timothy. It is stupid. So I got a chance to go to the black station in the city, just outside of the city.
Because
who
folks
solicited me for a job, asked if I wanted to come and work, and I did love that music. I love the soul music better than I liked the AT40 music. So it was good for me, and I just really, really enjoyed that job. I enjoyed it immensely, ripping and reading from the Associated Press at that time, and just, playing the good music and being the college student and, taking requests. Yeah. It was big fish in a little pond.
Yeah.
And then after graduation, Xerox came through and offered me dollar signs. And I'm like, yeah, it's cool for the money, right? I'm going to leave the radio station. Retrospectively, it was not a good thing to do, to leave your passion, your dream for money, right? I hated that job, selling copiers, for real though. Knocking on doors in Charleston, South Carolina. That was worse than being at WDIN. I'm trying to tell you.
Oh my goodness, because now they open the door and it's like, what do you want? What you here for? You're supposed to come to the back door. You here to clean? I'm here to sell you a copier. You selling copiers now? They putting all white paper to black? I'm going to cook this the whole time. I'm about to cook.
You have found a thread. Though.
I have. This is on my last nerve. Okay. I'm with you, though.
All right. So, I took the job with Xerox selling copiers. And then, Tim,
but can I just, boredom. But let me just say, though.
Yes.
This woman can sell.
Oh.
Genesita can sell anything. I've watched you.
Yeah.
I've watched you sell anything and make money, and not a little bit.
A lot.
I've seen you make a lot of money selling. So I understand it's not your passion, but you.
Well, it's the product that wasn't my passion.
Yep, understood.
The people I enjoyed connecting with. Yep. I enjoy sharing. I enjoy learning knowledge about a product. And it was a good job. It is one of the jobs where you can, not have a salary cap.
Yep.
If you want to sell. And we can talk about some other sales stuff as we go, as we journey. Right now I'm in college.
You in college and I'm with you.
At WQKI radio station having fun. And then I graduate, and then I stay at the station for a little while, go to Xerox, and then one of my friends who was in college called and said, you know what? You need to do something with that career. You need to do something with your theater career. I'm out here in California, and I'm in med school, and if you want to do something with your career, come on out here. You won't have to worry about a place to stay out. I got a place to stay for you, right?
How old are you?
I am 20.
Wow.
Because 16, just turning 16, going in college.
Yeah.
You know, just turned 20 at the end of maybe 21 or so.
Yeah.
Maybe 21. So came on out, and I felt safe to do that. We were great dance partners in college, and he had he practiced this homosexual lifestyle.
Okay.
So I felt safe.
Okay.
As a female.
Understood. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
But the thing blew up when I came out, and he wanted me to take this integrity training course. Took this integrity training course, and it was supposed to be this program that made you able to accept things, right? Made you able to accept things. I was in the trenches too, Timmy. I was working 2 jobs. I would jump on the bus from Alhambra and go to Saks Fifth Avenue in Beverly Hills to work as a cashier. And then I would come back and I'd stop at the Hungry Tiger in the Music Center and work as a waitress, and then I'd go home. And I was in that kind of cycle.
Yeah,
and
for
just
sure. You was grinding. Yeah.
Trying to get my tools and stuff together.
It's really the LA way.
Yeah.
Come out here and grind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but when you come out here, if you have your tools together, it will make a world of difference. So in the effort to, get my act together and tools together, he said, will you marry me? After I had taken this course, and now I'm supposed to be able to accept things, because that's what this course teaches me, to accept everything. So I was supposed to be the front, I guess, for the profession of the physician, and be his wife. No sexual relations, just me getting up in the morning, getting myself together, going sleeping on the sofa, and listening to what's going on in the other room. And he asked me if I'd marry him. And I was not gracious in my response. I forgot I was living in it.
Oh, my God.
So I said I would drop my pencil right now, putting on my makeup, and I would turn around and ask you, why would you ask me something like that? So I wasn't very gracious. So needless to say, it was time for me to leave, right? I needed to leave. So there was another colleague who...
Can we slow down, though?
Yes. You didn't know all this, huh? You didn't. You didn't go... We didn't talk about this before.
No, we didn't talk about this.
Well, foundation. I just wanted you to have some foundation.
No, this is the reason why I wanted to slow down, because this is not an aberration. The proposal that you received is not out of the ordinary. What is probably out of the ordinary is how forthright this individual was. Right?
Yes, Tim.
Stay with me when I make this statement, but I just respect that he was up front and being like, this is what this is going to be.
Yes.
I'm gay, but I have this profession where the optics need to be, I'm married.
Yes.
To a woman.
Yes.
But behind the scenes, here's what it's going to be. We're going to be married. You're going to get some money, but I'm going to be boning dudes in the back. And then this is just an arrangement that if you're okay with it, we'll rock it out with the optics. And you're like, yeah, nah. Now, here's why I say I respect the forthrightness. Because there's a lot of women in that situation right now.
And they didn't.
And that dirty dog didn't even give them the decency to let them know this is what it was going to be. She got to find out later.
You're absolutely right.
That this dude was on the DL. She got to find out later. He got to find out later that she on the DL. This ain't just one way.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
So it is and this is in the church. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of women wearing nice big old hats covering their face.
Yes.
Not because it's fashion.
Ooh.
Half of them hats ain't for fashion.
Wow.
Half of them is to block their countenance.
Wow.
Because that joker preaching something, he don't live at the house. And he got a side chick, and they got another child down the street, and he has a secret room where he takes his boy toys, and she has a spot where she gets down with the girls, and that's why she loves doing women's conferences, because she loves doing women at the conference.
Boy, what you say?
He loves doing men's conferences because he loves doing men at the conference. So this is not a special case scenario that you found yourself in. I'm just the reason why I want to slow down, because I'm just a little taken aback that, man, at least that dude was up front with it.
Yes, yes.
Right? And it gave you an opportunity to be like, no.
Correct. And I never looked at it that way.
Yeah.
And that does make me have respect for that aspect of
absolutely.
the relationship. It
Yeah.
does, because I could have been roped into something that I find out later, like a lot of women have found themselves. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Listen, God has been my protector.
Yes, he has.
Let me tell you.
Yes, he has.
Along my journey, he has been there for me, Timmy.
Yeah.
He has truly been there for me. So I ran into another colleague, was introduced to another colleague who lived in California, who invited me into her space. And while I was in her space in the grind and trying to get my pictures together, and she had young kids, and they were tearing up stuff as fast as I could get it done. It was really, really interesting. It was really, really interesting.
Wow.
And then there was the predator. The predator was her husband, who I allowed in my space, being young and dumb and not knowing any better. And so then I met my daughter's father. He worked at a restaurant, a very exclusive restaurant, and his place became my place because I needed a place.
Yeah.
And after that, Timmy, I got pregnant, and as a Southern girl, what you're supposed to do when you get pregnant, you're supposed to get married. That's just automatic. You're just supposed to get married.
Exactly.
And nothing else matters. You're just supposed to get married. So we got married, and oh boy, then it starts getting very, very interesting. When she was my daughter was about 6 months old, he began cutting out, seeing someone else, and his friend saw that he was leaving me behind. So his friend thought,
I will come glean in this field. I will come glean in this field.
Now, his friend was a drug dealer. Okay. And my first introduction to cocaine was with the individual who asked me to marry him. And in fact, when I left the radio station back home, the program director just kind of warned me, Jeanette, you don't want to get tied up with the wrong people. Well, I came out and I got tied up with all the wrong people. So as a drug dealer, he glittered, and he was gold. He was someone that I thought my baby daddy, who became my husband, that I thought he looked up to. And as he looked up to him, I looked up to him too. I just thought he was like, bigger than life. And I remember once we were in Las Vegas, and we were over this table. We were over this gambling table, and he looked at me and he said, the drug dealer, I'd do anything in the world for you. And hunty, how that sound to somebody who ain't never had everything in the world done for them before?
Right. Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
How that sound to someone who was vulnerable and, shaky foundation and needy.
Yeah.
No dad.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
No mom.
Yeah, for sure.
That sounded really, I'll do anything. There's nothing in the world I wouldn't do for you. So, okay. So, it wasn't long before my then husband, who was cutting out, actually I left first. He was still cutting out. I left first because this drug dealer could get me what I wanted. So I had an apartment on the other side of town, on this side of town, in fact. Right?
I knew how to get here quick.
On this side of town. Okay. With a live-in babysitter. Okay.
Let's go.
So let me tell you.
Oh, drug business was good.
It was good. It was good.
Sounds like that drug business
Well, it really wasn't good, but
I understand.
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Business was
saying
good.
too. I know what you're saying too.
Don't.
He had quite a history pre-me that where it was really, really good. I was on the tail end of the good.
Got
right?
you. Understood. Absolutely. I got it. I got you. Yeah, I heard what you didn't say.
Okay. All right. But anyway, I got, even before I left, I got a call from this woman, and I told her, I'm like, you're sleeping with my husband, and this was even before I had moved out. And she said, you're divorced. I'm like, So here I am. She's telling me I'm divorced, and I didn't even know it.
Wow.
And I'm accusing her of sleeping with a married man. I'm like, I never saw any papers. I never signed any papers. None of that.
Yeah.
So anyway, long story short, the drug dealer went to jail for association, right? Mm-hmm. Now, let me tell you the time when he went to jail. I had moved in the big house, right? The lady who was in the big house when he was first in jail got pregnant from somebody else. And so she was out of the big house when he came out, when he came home, right?
For sure.
So here I am.
On track.
I'm now in the big house, and drug activities going on. I'm trying to run from it now, Tim. This is like, where am I? What have I found myself in? And by then I have a son from him, and my world was just crumbling, right? I had a good job. I worked for Amtrak for a while, 8 years actually.
Wow.
Then I worked for another company that sold syndicated radio. And I heard in my spirit, the Lord said, do this for me. There was a show called This Week With where entertainers were interviewed and their music was played. And so I became enamored with people's testimonies. And so I felt like, I want to do this. I'm going to do this now for the Lord. I'm going to do this. So I quit that job, went to work at home under the same roof, under the same umbrella with this drug dealer, trying to like, okay, I'm gonna do something for the Lord now, right?
right. Yeah. Oh, this is tickling me. Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
All out of order.
Yeah.
All out of order.
Bless it, Lord.
Bless it, Lord. Yeah. And actually, it was a good program. It was a great program. I did a demo. Reverend Darrell Coley did my demo.
Wow.
We started
that dude's
distributing.
an icon.
He is. We started distributing into syndicated radio stations or soliciting radio stations to air it, right? Even the Sheridan Broadcasting Network said, we'll take it. And that was about 30 stations. A few other stations said, okay, we'll air it. So I had learned from this job how to do what I did, how to sell it. That's what I did. I sold syndicated radio shows to radio stations across the United States. So I knew how to sell it.
Yep.
And I knew how to create a demo. But then after that is like, okay, what do I do now? How do I get sponsors in? You know? So I threw my hands up to it, Tim. It became overwhelming, particularly with the environment that I was in and where I was in my life. So I threw my hands up to it. I really started running and seeking God. I was going to church, and I would volunteer my time just to be away from the activity. I was volunteering and working harder than those who were on payroll. I was there 40 hours a week. It's like, I'll work. And then I was asked if I wanted to take a position at the church. They said, we know you're interested in the arts and you want to do this and you want to do that. And would you come and take this position until something becomes available in that area? And so I agreed to, and I was glad, man. I was like, yeah, I'd rather be a doorkeeper in my father's house than dwell in the tents of the wicked. Yeah, man, come on.
Right.
Let's work.
Yep.
So I would work, and I was functional. I would work and I loved giving. I'd buy flowers for all the ladies in the church and put them on their desk. And, the tithes were taken out of our paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't need the money. I just liked giving and I liked being there. And this was church. And where I should have run was the prayer room, right? Where I should have been going, what I should have been doing is not seeking to do so much, but seeking to be and to find out who I was, and I think that is it's been like a common thread. It's like, feel like you got to do something. I got to do something.
Yep.
No, you got to work on you.
Yeah,
work
for
on
sure.
me.
For
Work
sure.
on me. And so
Absolutely.
that's the part I missed. But when I began to open up, Timmy, with the people who I became close with, and I told them what I was going through, this is my situation. Pray for me. Pray for me. And I came to work one day, and it was the day that the staff was going to have a church picnic, and I was really, really looking forward to this church picnic. Yay. And I was called into the pastor's office, and he said, I heard your laundry money through the church, and you're a bad reflection on the church, and I need you to resign.
Oh, my gosh.
So that was devastating to
Oh,
me.
my gosh.
Because it was the place I had to hold on to that was stability and made sense in my life. But again, I found out that it's not so much about the place. It's about Jesus. It's about a relationship with the Lord. It's like church is full of people, and they are all in different places in their lives.
Correct.
I've often anticipated a different reaction coming from leadership, some more embrace or help me. And when I saw other things in the church, it's like, well, they get to be a homosexual and lead the choir. Well, they get to do this and it's okay. But I gotta go. So my sin was a lesser sin in the eyes of the church at that time. To me, that was my perception, that, yours is the lesser. You got to go. You got to go. And besides, I'm running for this big office. I'm running for this big, big office, and you are a bad reflection on the church. And in retrospectively, I look and think, how can anything reflect off of the greatest light that ever was? So,
can I pause there? Yeah. Because even though this is part of your story and this is well in the past,
yes,
my heart sank when you said that. Like, it really sank. I was like, for you at that time, this was the only place that you saw good.
Refuge. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Not just God, but like good. This was honest. This was, I know I got some stuff going on that's like illegal and dangerous, but this is good, and this is honest, and this is pure, and this is love. And I feel like I'm being drawn from, you know what I mean?
Yes.
This is giving me some type of context to like, oh, this could be like permanent.
Yes.
And just to have the rug pulled out from under you because of optics.
Yes. Yes.
That's painful.
It was. It was very painful. It was brink of suicidal, because I believed if I couldn't go to church, if I can't take my broken pieces to church, then what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? I'm done. I'm just done.
Especially when you saw all these other broken pieces.
That part. So, Timmy, what happened after that was the things that were in my desk were left on my doorstep.
They brought it to your house and put it on your doorstep?
Yes. It was left on my doorstep.
Where they do that at?
I'm glad. I'm just grateful, that for the story. I'm grateful that God that God blessed me to come through that and to have an understanding of who He is. Because after that event, Timmy, I got myself involved in a play. And one of the songs in the play was "A Change Is Gonna Come." And I'm in my den and I'm rehearsing this song, "A Change Is Gonna Come." And there's this loud knock on my door, and the kids are upstairs playing. And, it was a lavish apartment. It was like a 6-unit apartment, and 2 of those apartments had been turned into 1 unit, and it was very plush. It was very plush. And so answered the door, and it was the Federal Drug Enforcement agents. And they had guns drawn, and they were pointing at me, and I was scared. And I'm like, what if one of these guns go off? And the kids were taken away, or I don't know if neighbors, I don't remember exactly who positioned the kids, but they weren't tied up in bureaucracy or anything. But they, my husband and I were face down on the floor, hands behind the back, guns at the head, and they're asking, who else is in the house, the kids, and drugs weren't in the house at that time. But what had happened was he had taken a trip to Chicago with some kilos of cocaine, and they confiscated his bags and his identification. He stayed away from home for a time, and when he thought things were cool, he came back home, and things were still cool for a while. They watched for a while.
Yeah.
And so they pulled that on him. So it's like, well, you in Chicago? And then the first thing they said was something funny, and it was like, obviously not. And then the second thing they said was the truth.
Correct.
And that's when his heart sunk, right?
Yeah.
So they carted him off to prison, and they searched the house and, of course, tore up everything. And I had scripture notes falling out of my glove compartment, and I had scripture notes everywhere. I was trying. I was just really trying.
You were trying to piece together. You were trying to be
like,
your own
Lord
church.
Jesus,
You had to pass in your own church in your own house. They booted you from the church you was at. Gay dude still leading the choir. Pastor still humping somebody, and you got to be at the house.
I got to go, right? I got to find scripture notes.
You got wallpaper on the wall, just Bible verses.
Basically.
Oh my gosh!
But when they took him out, the Federal Drug Enforcement agent said to me, we've been watching you, and we're your guardian angels.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
So don't tell me there is no God nowhere, because he came and got me all by himself, Timmy. He came and got me all by himself. Hallelujah. So nobody can make me doubt him, because I know too much about him. So when the shackles fell from, when they placed the shackles on my husband, the shackles fell from me. That was the desire for cocaine. That was the last time I have ever used cocaine. And then it was okay, back to the trenches. It's like, how do I be a single parent now? So I got this duplex apartment. Oh, by the way, he owned the apartment building that we lived in, but it was in his sister's name. So he told his sister to sell this building so that Jeanette and the kids can have a means of support. Sell the apartment building. She sold the building, She kept all the money. She bought a candy apple red Mercedes-Benz. And she kept all the money. So there was a blessing in that because she kept all the money, when he got out, I didn't have the bag for him to stick his hand in. I didn't have the bag. So
that's crazy.
So that too was a blessing in disguise. That was a blessing in disguise. That we were left to start from nothing. I think my mom gave me a little money. I was working again at the time. I was working at JWT.
Wow.
This brings me to JWT.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And I would go in. Oh, let me get my timeline right. So I'm kind of messed up myself because y'all messed up.
You messed up. Listen.
Y'all messed me up because y'all got messed up. But anyway.
When I give you context to why, you gonna be messed up. I promise you.
Okay. So yes, pulled it together with the kids. Snatched them out of private school. Just going to work, just trying to make it. Didn't really want much to do with going to church after that incident. Didn't. And actually, I was working for Amtrak. This was before JW. I was working for Amtrak, and I did some foolish things while I was there, and that I thought I needed. And I had been about 8 years at Amtrak. I felt like I needed some public support housing to make ends meet. And my superior agreed to an amount that I was making to qualify me, right? And the following year, she didn't agree to do that. And I didn't even know that nobody have to agree after that. It was just on the initial.
Right.
So did I forward something? I think I might have forwarded some. And I was fired from Amtrak. So anyway,
they thought you were doing something fraudulent.
Yeah. So after that, I met some girls there though who introduced me to this Bible study, Heaven Bound Ministries.
Here we go. This is where I start popping up on the radar. Boop. Boop.
Heaven
Bound Ministries.
Pastor Robert Richardson.
Uh-huh.
And it was a home-based ministry, and we'd go from house to house.
Yep.
And he would teach for hours on a Saturday afternoon.
Yep.
Just hours. And I believed I was just being fed intravenously.
Mm-hmm.
It was just so lengthy and so good and so rich. In fact, when I walked in, he says, I know who you are. And I was so timid at the time. I was afraid to ask, well, who?
right, exactly. From where? From what part?
I know who you are.
Wow.
But it was a rich environment for me at the time, and it really helped to strengthen and develop my relationship with the Lord.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that at that time. And then I met, some years later, I met this professional athlete through a mutual friend, and I fell madly in love with him. I did. He was my knight in shining armor on the good side, you know.
Right, exactly. Legitimate profession.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, he had money, and we didn't have to hide it.
Right.
You're like, okay, this is redemption.
Yeah.
This is redemption. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So I really fell in love, but he wasn't really giving me that kind of attention that I wanted or needed, you know. And I would lay my hands on the TV and pray for him in the football games going on. I was just like, just waiting. I was just waiting.
Yeah.
Just waiting. And so I got tired, and I was like, well, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to just keep waiting. I want to tie up my life. He wasn't showing me the attention that any relationship should have. And it's like, I don't know what's going on, with this first round draft pick. So Heaven Bound Ministries was going to have a picnic that day, right? And or the Saturday. And I was like, okay, I'm going to tell him. I'm going to cut it off. I'm done with this relationship. And so he called that morning and said, when we get to the picnic, I want to talk to you. I'm like, good, I want to talk to you too. So when we got to the picnic, he said, what do you have to say? I said, no, you go first. No, you go first. No, you go first. You go first. No, go ahead. You go first. I thought about it. He said, I've thought about it. And you've really had a hard life. And I just want to know, will you marry me? Then he said, so what do you have to say?
No thing. That is hilarious. Your turn, go.
Nothing.
Nah, I'm cool, fam.
Nothing.
I'm good. I ain't got nothing to say. No comment. That's hilarious.
Comment. So he didn't want to wait. He wanted to do this right away, and he wanted to keep it away from his compadres, the people who surrounded him and protected him. He wanted to keep it on the low for a minute, Got these advertisements working, and here you are, single mother, and I'm first round draft pick. This might not look too good to them, so we're just gonna keep it low. I'm like, that's all right. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I got you.
But
yeah.
What I deduced from that was, not letting anybody light your candle and put it under a bushel. And that's what he was wanting to do. Is like, I'm gonna light your candle, but I'm gonna put it under this bushel for right now. I needed to be up on the lampstand so I could burn and shine, right? Anywho, he flew me to Vegas along with the pastor and his wife.
Wow.
Of Heaven Bound Ministry. We got married.
Wow.
Like, lickety split.
Wow.
Came back, and we still didn't want anybody to know. So you over here, you over there, and the kids and everybody were just, and his niece were just like, where have you all been? They were just all concerned and kind of angry with us. Like, what's been going on here? So la. You get to work, go to work, JWT next morning. It was JWT by then. And then I got this call at work. He said, I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you when you get off. I'm like, okay, you okay? We just need to talk. Went home, fed the kids, jumped in my car, drove to Marina. Okay, what do you want to talk about? He said, I don't love you like you love me. And I want out.
How we gotta slow down right here though, because how long was it?
48, 72 hours. 0 to 60 in too short of a period of time. From ecstasy to
Exit strategy.
yes. It was and I this was the first time that my heart was truly, truly broken. I mean, because I was in love. I knew the Lord then. And I just this was it. This was love. I really, really
and your
loved
pastor
this
your
dude.
pastor endorsed it.
He endorsed it.
He officiated it.
Actually, which was strange in and of itself, because he flew to Las Vegas with us to the courthouse, maybe, for it to be officiated.
Oh. Yeah.
That wasn't cool, was it?
Yeah. No.
That wasn't cool. But they were witnesses to
Yes,
this.
understood.
Anyway.
Which is still a huge
It's
endorsement.
it is.
You
It
feel
is.
covered.
It is.
Like, okay, well, if
this
I
is
have a
cool.
blind spot, you should have saw something.
Yes. So his wife did say on the plane ride back, it's like, now is when you really have to start praying. And I didn't know what she meant by that. It's like, girl.
It's
cool now.
We straight. He done locked this up. You know what I mean? We good. Let's keep it moving.
I didn't understand what God was doing. And I was so crushed him. I walked around with a broken heart. I was running to church. It's like, I needed a word. I just needed to hear from God. And he never ceased to meet me. And one particular real prevalent moment was, it was Halloween. And there was a pastor in LA who would have a service on that evening. And he would ask everybody to bring something that they wanted to put on this table, right? So I brought divorce papers, right? And at the end of the service, he said, somebody in here is going through a divorce. And I just want you to know that God is pleased. And he's going to shoot your faith to the moon.
Wow.
So I believe what God was pleased about was there was a tuggle. It's like, I'm not getting a divorce. You know, I was warring against it for a time until I sat and opened my Bible and it said, there is utterly a fault among you because you go to law one with another. Why do you not rather take wrong? Why do you not rather suffer yourself to be defrauded? So I'm like, I got to just take that. Wow. I got to just sign the paper and let it go. There was even a period during this time, Timmy, where I went to jail because my tickets on my car had just piled up so high. So there was nothing, no tangible sugar daddy kind of
for
thing
sure.
going on with this relationship.
Yeah.
I was like, you know, I was in a hole and I was digging a hole deeper for myself. And the book gets into, you know, several stories during that time frame. Yeah, during that time frame that will really be a blessing and just show you how faithful and how great God is.
Yeah.
And I used the experience as a catharsis by writing it. Yeah. It was cathartic for me to just start writing what I was going through as I was going through it, or just shortly after I went through it. It's like, you know, put it on paper, get it out of you.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
Absolutely.
Get it out of you.
Get it out of you.
So back to the service, which was phenomenal. So I felt comfortable signing the papers, you know, not putting up a fight, not, you know, pay me, whatever, not doing any of that, because he said it was something like insanity. I'm like, he's going to put something like that on his paperwork, and he's a pro ball player to get out of the relationship. Anywho, I didn't understand why God was doing that, why he didn't allow that relationship to be, because it seemed so perfect for me. Mm-hmm. But it took 20 years for God to reveal this is why this could not be. Because I know him better than you know him. Mm. And I am protecting you. And I am in the yes, and I am in the no. Mm. And this for you was a no. So, fast forward, 20 years later, he is on the cover of GQ magazine with a 7, 8, 9 page spread of the heinous murders that he had committed, and all about his childhood. I'm talking about dressing up police officer, putting people's hands in cuffs and stuffing them in the trunks. I'm talking heinous murders. So God was sparing me from that. And
let's go slower.
Yes.
Here's what I just heard as soon as you said that. What you don't know is ...
Right.
Because not everybody gets the other side of the story. Right? Where it comes out in public and you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But we have to trust that when God shuts something down, it's proper that we can grieve it. Yes. We can, you know, go through all of our emotions. But I just heard the Holy Spirit say, but what you don't know is, like you crying.
Yes.
But what you don't know is,
yes.
you over here rolling around on the floor like, how come it didn't work? What you don't know is, I mean.
Yes.
And you didn't, what I love about this part of the story is that 20 years later, you wasn't still acting out of your pain from 20 years ago, and then that was your closure to like snap out of it. You've been a woman of God.
Yes.
Through all that time.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You didn't let that define you.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But the fact that you got context to why.
Yes.
2 decades later.
Yes. I'm like, okay.
You was about to be married to a whole serial killer. I mean, good googly moogly. I mean, we can laugh about it now, but dang, you almost married.
Right?
A whole serial killer.
Yeah, I think my brother said it best when he said, you dodged a bullet.
A real one.
God
or
was,
a knife.
God was the
or a rope.
All of that.
All of it.
All of it. All of it. But God was my shield. I didn't dodge it.
That's correct.
He was my shield.
And let me tell you something. Okay, let's go, I mean, because we can only appreciate this in retrospect.
Yes.
This can only be appreciated in
Yes.
retrospect. That dude can't go from I'm gonna meet you at the picnic. I'm in love with you. What you got to, what news you got to say? And you like, we could fly to Vegas, get married, right? Come back, and then 72 hours later, plead insanity and say, I want this marriage annulled. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, in the same way, Pharaoh took Sarai and was about to bring her into his harem. And God said, don't touch that woman. She belongs to Abram. And Pharaoh came back out and said, why'd you tell me this was your sister when this is really your wife? I could have slept with her and dishonored God in the process, bro. Take her back.
Yes. Thank you.
In the same way, that man meant to put a ring on your finger and go be a whole serial killer.
Yes.
And somewhere in between I do and I can't, God was like, that's my daughter. What you won't do? What you don't even know you gonna do.
Right.
Not with her.
Well,
my brain is just.
So Timmy, there were a whole lot of other pains and things that happened during that time of being divorced and just after being divorced. So October, I signed the papers. In February, he was on the cover of Jet magazine. He had married this woman who proposed to him after one day. But she was a celebrity. So I believe he wanted someone of that status to flank him as the professional ball player that he was.
She got flanked with a whole serial killer.
She
probably didn't make it either. I don't even know. I'm just filling in blanks. I don't know what's going on. I'm just jumping the gun. I don't know what I'm talking about right now.
Yeah, she's gone on to be with the Lord.
Oh.
But probably for other reasons.
Okay.
And this was an evangelist. She was an evangelist. And I think we'll probably have to do dinner or something, right? Anyway, she's gone on to be with the Lord. But to see her cover, these were some of my crushing moments. To see
absolutely
on the cover of Jet magazine and
should have been
and celebrating and and the Lord told me to get out of the city, and that's how I wound up in Rialto.
Yeah.
And it was just before they got married, and I don't know if I would have been in too close of a proximity to maintain my cool. But being all the way out there,
Do you have serial killer in you?
I don't.
Do you have like
I have
Angela Bassett?
I have kick in the glass in me. I have like
Yeah. You got a good old karate kick you can throw out there.
Karate kick at me, but that's about the extent of it.
Yeah. But you're gonna get this kick though. What you are gonna get is this kick.
You're gonna get this kick.
Yeah.
And in an object, not a person.
You throw
something.
something.
It could be a pain, or it could be a door or
Yeah.
a wall.
Yeah.
So let the anger out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something
Yes,
to just,
absolutely.
like, let it on out.
You know they have like smash rooms now.
Yes.
Where you can just go and you can pay to go break stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the whole theme of my book is that God gave me the grace to walk away from so many painful situations that I didn't have to.
That's beautiful.
Be the killer. I didn't have to cut nobody.
Yeah, for sure. You done shot my pinky toe.
I didn't have to cut you. I didn't have to do that.
Now I gotta cut you.
Yeah, he gave me the grace to walk away.
It's beautiful.
Walk away from the pain that was inflicted when I went to the church. Walk away from the pain that he caused.
Yeah.
And if you keep walking, God will heal. He'll intervene.
Yeah.
And he did for me, Timmy. He really, really did. I was traveling to one of my spiritual brothers needed a ride out my way one day. And we were just talking. And I was telling him, I've been in love before. I've been married before. But this thing is like, I can't get rid of this pain. This hurt in my chest. I can't get rid of it. And so he says, well, did you know the Lord when you had your other relationships? I said, no. And then he said, oh, you're not in love with him. You're in love with being in love. And when he said that, it was as if God reached in my chest and snatched out the pain and unwrapped my love for this guy from my love for him. It just got all tangled up, and it's like, oh no, you just in love with being in love. That was a miraculous moment for me. It was as miraculous as was when the federal DEA agent said, we're your guardian angels. Yes. So that was another miraculous deliverance for me. And that was just God intervening. And
what was it about? Because that statement is profound.
Yes, it was.
What was it about that statement that got in there so deep and got it out so cleanly?
I believe the reality of it is what made it so impactful. So here you have the girl from South Carolina, not nurtured, not loved, but looking for it.
Yes.
And wanting it.
Yeah.
And found it in God.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Found who love is.
Yeah.
And now you have this individual who you have allowed to come into your space, and he gets entwined with your love for God, because this was, Bible study, and this was, this was all about love.
Yeah.
It was all God and good.
Yeah.
So when he broke my heart, there was the inability to separate my love from him and my love for God. It was all just love. And so it took defining the fact that, it's not about him.
Right. Yep.
He can break away very easy.
Yep.
But you, daughter,
Yeah.
are just in love with the idea. You're just in love with being in love. It's like, wow, this was a fascinating feeling. It's like, is something that I pray for everybody,
Yeah.
is to really, really be in love and have your heart engaged and have your heart engaged is the one word.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's guarding it and keeping it with all diligence, because out of it the issues of life flow. I love you, Timmy.
Oh no, you are like cinematic. I can't even deal with you. You're like the most cinematic storyteller I've ever met. Like, this is a movie. It's a whole movie.
Well, that is what I believed after. That is what I believe. That is what I believe, that my book is that.
Yeah.
I believe it is that.
Okay. I mean, yeah, that's okay. So you wrote a book.
Yes.
It's right there. Telling you, watch what happens in post. It's right there. Don't matter how many times I do it. It's just gonna keep coming out. Just creating more work for this dude right there. So I'm cracking up because I could already see it in post. Anyway, there seems to a spiritual connection. Now that you've told me this story and I see it in its fullness, a spiritual connection, which is the show you had me on, 13 months into my salvation. It sounds like there's a thread all the way back to that show many, many years ago, where you were just enthralled by all the testimonies that were shared.
Absolutely.
How did a spiritual connection come to be?
Just through that syndicated radio, and then after selling it and throwing my hands up to it, the Lord always brought it back in one form or another. It came back in print for Gospel International magazine.
Yep.
It came back to local cable radio, local cable television.
Yep.
A number of them as they went through their transitions.
Yeah.
And it was something that I could not put down, Timmy. It was like I was feeling guilty, conflicted. I was feeling useless when I would not do it. So he would always open the door and somebody would say, hey, here's a platform for you to do your show. And more recently, the Real Urban Radio Network, it's like, okay, come and do a spiritual connection over here.
Yep.
And more recently, we shot a pilot.
Yep.
And it's that desire as well to make it excellent.
Yep.
For the glory of God.
Yep.
So this last journey that we did with shooting the pilot was the level of excellence that I had been searching for
all the way through
all of these years.
Yeah.
Let's get it there. And then in retrospect, when God told me to do that show,
yeah,
he wasn't necessarily saying, go, sister. Now, okay.
I'm ready for this.
He didn't necessarily say, stop what you're doing and go do this show now. Mm-hmm. And so what I did is I believe I got ahead of God in that, you tell me what to do? You told me what to do?
Mm-hmm.
Cool, I got it.
Mm-hmm.
I got it. I'm going. I'm going to do this now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of doing what we were speaking about earlier, and that is walking it out.
Yep.
Walking it out.
Yep.
Truly, I can do nothing without God.
That's right.
And when it is me, it's me.
That's right.
Okay?
Yep.
So I've learned
a
lot along this journey over the years, and I'm grateful for everything that I've learned. And all the experiences I've had. That one church experience that I mentioned, Tim, that was just one of them.
Yeah.
That was just one. I got kicked out when I was a single parent and just trying to make ends meet, and the internet was just becoming prevalent, and you could find anything to justify your position on the internet. And so, and I'm gonna tell you, this was a time when I was commuting from Rialto to LA to work. I would stop at the prayer room at 5 a.m. So I would get up at 3, leave home at 4. I would get to prayer at 5, do prayer from 5 to 6.
I remember.
Be at work at 6:30, right?
I remember this.
And then back home to do it all over again. But this prayer was so nurturing to me at 5 a.m. in the morning that I just had to be there.
Yeah.
I had to be there.
Yeah.
So anyway, I did get involved with another ministry where this prayer organization was taking place at that time after this relationship stuff and through this healing process and where this brother spoke into my life. But I was struggling, right? And I needed something to justify my tithe.
Hey, that tickled me. I don't know why that tickled me.
I needed something to justify the fact that I can't
justify my tithe.
I can't.
My tithe.
I can't. It's like I'm giving, right? It's like I'm going to the cable station. I'm bringing the camera in. I'm giving in the offerings that were, it's like I'm losing track. Like, okay, so how much was that? And and how much do I have left to feed the kids? And I mean, we struggled, Timmy. We struggled, and God provided.
Yep.
I remember pulling into a McDonald's one day, and my son, I asked him what kind of sandwich did he want, and he said, "I want a number 3." I'm like, "You want a whole number?"
I'm weak. Don't be calling out these whole numbers. You better order that half.
Listen, I needed him to want a fraction at the time.
You want a hamburger or fries. You do not want both.
I was serious about it too because I was at a place in my life where I was not compromising. If God didn't provide it, I didn't want it. Brother would say, "Here, sister, here's a pass to the Metro Link." I'm like, what you got attached to this?
Right, exactly. Yeah. Don't let me see no string.
Don't let me see no strings attached. But anyway, so I found a scripture to justify the fact that I couldn't tithe right now. And the leadership got wind of it, and I was called in again or sent an email. I don't remember which one. But I was told that that tithing was one with the prayer. So I couldn't come back to the prayer room.
I already know the name of this church, and I'm going to say it, and I know it's going to be smoky in here.
You going to say it?
Raggedy Ann and Andy Church. That's the name of the church. Raggedy Ann and Andy Ministries. I remember these people. Yeah, Raggedy Ann and Andy Ministries. Don't ever go to this church, people. Raggedy Ann and Andy Ministries is a joke, and I don't want anybody to go to the church. They are off Chitlin Boulevard in Los Angeles, California. Actually, they're off Chitterling Boulevard. I think that on that street, they spelled the whole thing out. Chitterling Boulevard.
Hey, but
Los Angeles, California.
Can I tell you how God prepared me for that, though? I had a dream.
The tithe is connected to prayer? Never have I seen such an egregious doctrinal error conflated upon one another. It's the most foolish thing I've ever heard in my life. If you're not tithing, you can't come pray at 5 o'clock in the morning? Raggedy Ann and Andy Ministries off Chitterling Boulevard is trash, fam. It's trash. Your church is trash. Okay, I'm back.
But God prepared me for it, Timmy. I had a dream. I had a dream that morning before going to prayer that when I got there, it was over. It was over because they started an hour early. That was how God softened my blow.
It went from 5 to 4?
It didn't in reality.
Okay, understood.
But in my dream.
In your dream, absolutely.
When I got there, it was over, and because they started an hour early, so it was over. God was telling me, this is over.
It is over.
This is over.
And it needed to be over. I'm just tired of trash churches. I know that's strong language. I'm sorry. No, I'm not actually sorry. I'm not sorry for saying it. I get frustrated deeply when a church cannot handle the progression of where their sheep are in their lives. You believed in the tithe, but because of a very constrained financial season, you weren't being as committed during that time as you would if financially things were different. Right. That's a personal issue between you and God that needed to be worked out. I don't even mind a church tracking the tithing record of their membership. If this is a part of your accountability process, I would just hope that if you're tracking the tithe, you're also tracking the behavior of people as well. I'm not saying you got to have a dossier on everybody, but if your leadership are you tracking the egos? Are you tracking the pride? Are you tracking behavior? Are you tracking inappropriate behavior? Are you tracking commitment in other ways other than, you know what I'm saying? I do. Money.
I do.
I just get, my wife laughs at me because I picture that I have a little apostle that stands on my sternum and he just gets like, it's got to be Peter. It's got to be Peter, right? Because I am quick to pull out a sword and I'm like, protect the sheep.
Yes, you are.
At all costs, protect the sheep, and I will cut your ear off. Like I will cut your ear off behind one of these sheep, and I just don't understand why. Like I've heard a lot in 47 years, 26 years of being a believer. I have heard a lot of foolishness. That's a special case.
It's a special case.
You can't come pray no more until you start tithing. At 5 a.m, you should be happy anybody gets up in this building.
And drive an hour.
You got up at 3, you left at 4 to be here at 5. Maybe if I pull you to the side and say, hey, I've noticed your tithing is everything okay? No, it's not. Well, we're going to be praying.
Yes.
That God starts to provide in a way where you can, or you might need to press past that. Here's a way we're going to tailor your budget while you go through this season so that you can maintain your covenant with the Lord. Tell Lucius that he's going to have, he going to have fries today. It's going to be a large, but he won't have protein.
He won't have
you know what I'm saying? And if he wants a double with cheese, he will not have starch. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be one of the other. I mean, I just, okay. Yeah. But God has prepared you every single time because he loved you. You're his daughter, clearly.
Yes.
Clearly, you're his daughter. That's a theme throughout this whole thing that I hope everybody gets. God loves Jeanette as his daughter. I would not mess with her.
You know, I alluded to that in the book as well, Timmy, because my sister-in-law who sold the place, right, and kept the money and bought the candy apple red Mercedes. So when my husband did get out, she didn't have any money for him either. She had spent it all, right?
She was a cankerworm.
She was in the medical profession.
I'm using biblical language.
She was
a palmer worm.
Very youthful.
Caterpillar.
But on my birthday that year, she didn't wake up.
Stop telling me stories with these drop-offs. What are you saying to me out loud, looking me right in my cornea? What did you just say? On your birthday, she didn't wake up. She gone?
She gone. She gone.
Okay, so let's just recap. I just want to make sure. I got this right. If I'm being a little too playful with this, you can check
No,
me.
I was apprehensive about even sharing it. But when you said God loves Jeanette, don't mess with Jeanette.
Well, this is the theme I kind of want to put together. Your sister-in-law died.
Yeah.
She took your money.
Yes.
The love of your life's wife died. She didn't take your man. It wasn't like she was.
No.
But she gone.
Yes.
And that man that married you in 3 days later, annulled the marriage. He's in prison or he gone?
He's in prison. As far as I know. In prison.
I would just be a little scared to mess with you a little bit. I mean, once you have context, you just got to be like, you know what? I just think I don't really like her, but I'm just keep my mouth off her, and whatever she got, I'm gonna just let her keep, because there seems to be a consistent thread. Jokers could die or wind up in jail or in a car accident. I don't know what's going to happen. Folks keep messing with you. I'm not. That's a little. Raggedy Ann and Andy Church. Does that church still exist?
Well, the one where the prayer room was, I believe, was shortly boarded up after.
Oh my God, the church, ain't he? Raggedy Ann and Andy Ministries is chilling.
Well,
It's probably a church's chicken now, because it's sure ain't the church.
they had two buildings, so one in the front, so the church did not diminish, but the building behind where the prayer took place was.
It got boarded up because they wouldn't let you back in. Look at what happens. I would not mess with Jeanette Aguiar for nothing. I'm trying to think if I did anything to you in the last 20.
That's so funny.
Trying to see if there's any delayed reaction God might have. I don't want to get thumped on the way back home.
Oh, that's so funny.
Did I steal anything from your house? I didn't steal nothing.
No, Tim, you were quite the gentleman. You would pay your way when you could. You're here, sis. Here you go.
Absolutely.
You were just a blessing to me and to my kids, my daughter, by taking her out and showing her the ropes and how a man should treat her.
Yep.
And she doesn't forget that to this day. And even her friends, you just embrace them,
Yeah.
as the big brother.
Yep.
And so you have always had a very positive impact on my life. And seeing your love for people, is what ministry is all about. That I hadn't experienced in some of my relationships with some churches or with the people in it. So you are exemplary, of what ministry is all about. And your mom is the same way. I remember Mom would come to my apartment when I was in an apartment in Rialto, and she would call me and she's like, let's go have girl lunch. Let's go. Periodically, she just wanted to come and let's go out to lunch, and we would sit and we would talk. And after she would leave, it's like, wow, she just wanted to spend time with me.
Yeah.
And that just did me all the good.
Yeah.
And to this day, I'm her spiritual daughter, and I'm an honorary Ross member.
Yeah, you are. Oh, absolutely.
I got carte blanche.
Yeah, you really do. Anybody mess with you, that would be a bad day. Because not everybody in our family is saved.
That's God right there.
And they be looking for work. So, you have, this story is, I guess I knew like 80% of it. But this 20 that you done shared, like, you gave me a cool 20% that I'm like, oh my God, what? What was that?
There's more, there's more, just the thumbprint of God in my journey, along my journey.
Yeah.
And I haven't been perfect by any means, Tim.
Me
There's
either.
some, there, and none of us have, but there are some qualities, and there's some qualities that you have that, and I even read in the scriptures today that it's like, oops, I should have known that.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
Ooh, I didn't do that right.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm just glad to continue the journey. And I think what you said is paramount by allowing people to be where they are.
That part.
In their growth process.
Yeah. Because when you know better, you do better.
Exactly.
Right? Scripture says, to him that knows to do right and still does wrong, to him that is sin.
That's right.
Right? So when you know better, you do better. And, you know, a flight from New York to LA is 1,000 course corrections. Mm-hmm. That's all a flight from New York to LA is 1,000 course corrections. A flight from New York to LA without one single course correction ends up in the Pacific Ocean.
I get it.
You'll be in South America real quick.
Yes.
So it's the course corrections along the way that help you get to your final destination. Yes. Because there's in different atmospheres, there's different wind, and there's different resistances, and there's and you know, turbulence can make you have to come down, you know, 20,000 feet in elevation, and that might change your speed. Yes. And so we were going to get there in, you know, 6 hours, New York to LA, right? We're going to get there in 6 hours. Now it's going to take 6 hours and 12 minutes. Or we caught a tailwind, and, you know, now it's going to be 5 hours and 40 minutes.
Yes.
It's just a series of adjustments. And what I've known in my experience with you is you've always made the adjustments. You've always been able to call your own foul. You've always been able to come back and be like, man, yeah, you know what, my bad. That was me. Yes. I love people that call their own fouls.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like when I watch basketball, I cannot stand the basketball player that is shocked every time the ref blows the whistle.
I get it.
Because they called a foul. I don't know. I didn't even touch him. Fool, you playing a 48-minute game that is a full contact sport. Yes, you did. In real time, you can't feel it because you just trying to defend and all that kind of stuff, but you fouled him, fam. We saw the replay. You fouled him. I love the dudes that will like karate chop somebody.
Yes.
And before the ref can put the whistle in his mouth and blow it, they like, yeah.
I did it.
Yeah, that was a flagrant 2, dog. I tried to, your boy done cooked me for 22 points.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I've been the sole defender and I'm getting embarrassed out here.
Yes.
I tried to break his ankle. I'm mad that he can make it to the line. You know what I mean? He limping a little bit, but I didn't do my job. You know what I mean?
Yes, I will tell on myself.
Yes, call your own foul. And I tell on myself too.
Yes.
Which is why I cannot be easily embarrassed. You cannot easily embarrass me. Because I'm going to tell you before.
That's right.
If I find out I'm wrong, you won't have to come back and get an apology out of me. I will literally let you know right now, it is against thee and thee only.
That's right.
Have I sinned.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
David had an awareness, understanding what he needed to say to God and what he needed to do for others. And so it's to be applauded.
Yes.
The way you've grown.
Thank you. To God be the glory. To God be all the glory. Because I tell you, if it had not been for the Lord on my side.
Somebody else would have died messing with you.
That's not
Listen. Y'all better stop messing with Jeanette. I don't know who don't like you. But after this pod right here, y'all better stop messing with Jeanette. I just take your mouth off for now.
Okay.
Because this girl ain't even walking around like my daddy can beat you up. Like she's just living her life, and then folks is, again, I'm not making light of nobody's death and all of that's horrible. But
so Timmy, let me talk to you about this, and that is, I recently went to a birthday party with some friends, right? Mm-hmm. And one of my friends called me over to introduce me to another friend, to a mutual friend. And we got in the conversation about relationships, about men. And so, yes, I'm single, right?
Yep.
And
she's single. Hey, she's single.
But listen, so it comes across, and I was very, very adamant about this. It comes across that you know, you need to be soft. You need to be soft. And she was, you know, sharing with her friend a couple of incidents that happened in prior marriages, right? That didn't define the dismantling of the relationship, but she used it to define me as you know, being hard. So, and how men want somebody, you know, who's soft. And considering my background, right? I think I've brought home the bacon, fried it up in a pan.
Yes, you have.
Kids to school,
You killed the hog.
Take the trash out.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
as single women,
Yeah.
perhaps we do develop a little more skin
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
than someone who has been nurtured properly from birth.
Absolutely. For sure.
So what would you say, Timmy, to someone who may define me, or what would you say to me?
Yeah.
What would you say to me, knowing who I am, my journey, my strength? You know, is this something that I need to scale back and be soft, or am I who I am? And somebody needs to be strong enough to deal with it.
So let's go with the analogy you gave. Like, you know, you had to be a single mother. You had a rough upbringing. You had to make this. You had to figure this out, right? You had a gun to your head. You survived cocaine, right?
Yes.
You've been in some tumultuous relationships. You had to figure it out. You had to make ends meet financially. This toughens the skin, right? Do you know how you soften hard leather?
There's some saddle soap.
There's saddle soap and there's a lot of moisturizer.
Okay.
And that's how you get something that is hard to be soft. I don't think this is a matter of you putting on saddle soap and you putting on moisturizer. The right man knows how to soften you. Point blank, period. The right man knows how to soften you. And what I have experienced, and I know I speak for some men out there, there's a lot of men who would rather not have to work on softening. That's laziness to me. If you find an individual that you find attractive and then you understand the backstory and the context and you know exactly what you're doing. Now, there's some people that would rather just buy a new, let's just go. I want to go with the analogy, but I just don't want nobody to thinking like, are you calling women saddles? Are you? But I just want to use the analogy. We're going with the analogy. Hopefully,
We'll go with it.
We'll go with the analogy, right? Some men would rather just go, you know what? I don't feel like breaking in something that's like really hard and da-da-da. I'd just rather buy it new and it's soft and supple and blah, 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 blah. There's other people that they're just really gifted to restore. They're just patient enough to restore. Juliet came from a broken home. Her mom had to leave her dad when she was 8 years old. The first job my wife had, she was paying her. She was selling little bracelets at school to help her mom with light bills. Wow. My wife was raising her sister's kids, helping out, right? Yeah. So when I met her, my wife didn't want to hold my hand. She's like, what's all the affection about? We just walking. Let's just move on.
Yeah.
My wife was Jamaican Caribbean thug. Yeah. She's like the finest tomboy I've ever met in my whole life.
She is gorgeous.
Homie, but this girl was like tough. And I'm like, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. This is gonna be some work. Like, you don't want to hold hands. I'm an affectionate person. I like to open the car door. My wife would literally be like, well, I don't need you to open my car door. I used to tell her, and this is what I know, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. A strong woman needs a strong man.
Yes.
Point blank, period.
I agree.
Juliet would hit that door, and I would tell her, close the door back.
Mm.
And she like, I don't get to close the door back. You don't touch that door handle. I'm coming around to get your door. I don't need you to get my door. I can get my own door. I know what you can do.
But this is what I'm going to do.
But this is what I will do.
Yes.
And she closed the door back, and I come around, open the door. Next time, she go to the door, close the door back. Right? She closed the door. Okay. After a few months, she opened the door, closed it back herself. I was just playing. Just wanted to see what you was going to do. Now?
She's waiting for her door to be opened because you've had the patience.
I got saddle soap and I got moisturizer.
Come on now. Lord, if it be your will, send me saddle soap and moisturizer.
But so I'm glad you brought this up because bottom line is a strong woman needs a strong man.
Yes.
Right? Well, I'm going to say something that's probably going to catch all the smoke. And this is purely conjecture. So I say this up front. I say this from such a long distance that somebody close to the situation is going to be like, fool, you out of pocket for saying that. You don't know their situation, blah, 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 blah. But there's a reason why Oprah has not married Stedman.
Oh. Just making an observation based on the conversation.
I don't think it's big bank take little bank.
I get it.
Now, there's some people that resist saddle soap and moisturizer. And there's nothing you can do with those. You want to be old and brittle, then stop complaining. But don't resist it when you find out it's genuine and it's pure and it's da-da-da-da-da. Juliet is a strong woman. I have not tried to diminish her strength at all. What if anything, what she has made way for is the way that I want to treat her. My wife don't need me. She wants me.
Yes.
Most men want a needy woman. Because a needy woman is dependent upon the man. Most men don't know what to do with a woman that just want to be with you.
Right.
You know I don't have to.
Right.
Juliet ain't got to be with me. That girl fine enough to, she could have been with anybody. She did not have to be with me. Trust and believe. When I met Juliet, she had already been proposed to 3 times. She wasn't 18 yet. Imagine that. 3 men had already proposed to her. They wanted her hand in marriage before I showed up. When I showed up, I didn't have a job or a car. Okay?
Yeah.
And she took a shot on me. Juliet don't need to be with me. She wants to be with me.
Yes.
And that's way more sexier.
It is beautiful.
I don't need a needy woman. I don't want somebody dependent on me. If you leave, I don't know what I'll do.
Right. Right.
Juliet knows exactly what she'll do.
Keep living.
Juliet would be like, fool, I can show you better than I can tell you. You leaving ain't going. It might be a bump in the road. I'll be back on my feet. Like, you ain't stopping nothing over here.
Right, right.
Well, that's wildly attractive to me.
Yes.
And it's actually, it's sexually arousing to me that Juliet wants me.
Right, right.
Hey.
I don't know nothing about that, but
right. You know what I'm saying? I mean, think about it. Like to be wanted and to be needed are 2 completely different things.
Yes.
Right? And most people will say, I'd rather be wanted than needed because if you want me, then you cannot want me. But if you need me, it don't even matter. If you want me, you need me. That's a terrible relationship.
It is. I might not even like you. I just need you.
Yeah. Jesus didn't need to redeem the earth. He wanted to.
Yes.
He went to the cross because he wanted to. He didn't need to do nothing. He could have left us where he wanted us. Right?
He could have. Yes, he could have.
And this is the reason why he only wants it reciprocated the same way. Don't come over here unless you want me. You have a free will. I'm not going to hold the fact that I shed my blood over your head.
Yes.
You better serve me. You know I die for you. That's why people that preach it like that, they have a very low conversion rate. You need to give your life to Jesus after all he did for you. Well, that's manipulation.
Yes, it is. Oh.
Right? That's Raggedy Ann and Andy Church off Chitterling Boulevard, Los Angeles, California.
It is that one.
I don't know why this is tickling me so much. All right, so I hope I answered that question.
Yes, you did, and I thank you for it.
Yeah, because I strong women need to know that there are strong men who understand how to navigate strong women. And here's what strong men need to know. Strong women don't want to exert all that strength all the time. Once that woman knows, let me put these men up on game. Y'all can tell me if I'm wrong, because Jeanette's daughter is right off screen right there. She been here this whole time, co-signing on this whole thing and laughing with us and head bobbing and crying and everything with us. We done went through the whole journey together. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, okay? But I think what strong men need to know is that once a strong woman knows that she can trust you, she'll melt in your mouth, not in your hands. Hey, am I lying on that?
No, you're not. Trust is...
Now the key word was trust, not faith. Okay. I'm placing my faith in you to date you. Trust is earned. But once I know I can trust you, I
can put my whole life in your hands. My whole
life. And you gonna come home to dinner. Because I know I ain't got to. I used to kill the hog and have to field dress it and cut the bacon out and put it in the skillet and fry. And now you telling me, baby, I'll be home, and when I killed that pig last month.
Yes.
Still some bacon in the freezer. Unthaw that. What time you gonna be home? 7? Say less, fam. My wife hasn't had a job. When I got married to my wife, I didn't have a job or a car. When I proposed to her, I didn't have a job or a car. I had to drive. She had to drive me to the place I proposed to her. Took me a little while to figure it out. We got married in 1999. By 2004, I retired her from her job. She has never worked for anybody beside herself since.
And is well kept.
The girl has started 3 businesses, okay, on her own, done it, and been successful in doing however she wanted to do it, whatever came to her mind. I told her, I'm going to be the executive producer of your dreams.
Yes.
You do whatever you want. I'm just going to executive produce it. I'm going to go find the money to make sure that your dreams are fulfilled. So she's been able to grow and thrive and do stuff and try stuff and all that kind of stuff. And when I get home, that strong woman, it's like, I made you, your plate is right over there. And when I get home, that strong woman is like, hey, I know you need to unwind. What you about to do? Play your game? You need me to unwind? And when I get home, she's the epitome of Proverbs 31. Then she can be the expression of Songs of Solomon.
Come on now.
Why? Because she knows I have strength that my strength can go to and be safe.
That's good, Timmy.
So, little saddle soap, little moisturizer, and you can soften the hardest. I hope nobody thinks I'm like, it's just an observation I've made about Oprah and Stedman. I could be so wrong. I could be really, really wrong. But I'm just saying, I'm like, man, like you really, like, the institution of marriage is off limits to you. I'm just curious as to why, and I don't think it has anything to do with her bank account. Let's just think, I don't know if he matches my strength. But I love them though.
I love them too.
I love them though.
They're
Okay.
amazing people.
All right, listen, Genesita.
Yes, Timmy.
This was wide ranging. This was robust.
It's been
I'm drinking water I never drunk before from some spring water cascades. This is either Kupu or Gopu, but that line is over it. When the line is over it, I haven't been in English class in a long time. Does that make it a long sound? Kupu. That's too close to like cool poo. I don't like it. But I drank it, so something's wrong with me.
It's in a cool can.
It is in a cool can. I love you so much.
I love you more.
This was good. You have to come back on.
I would
Yeah.
be
Did you
honored.
feel that? Yeah,
I
you
would be privileged.
you definitely got to come back on. Like this was not like a one off. Like I got to have you back on for no reason. Then I've known you for almost 30 years. So
I'd love to come back to the basement.
I
like it down here.
Ain't it dope down here?
I love it.
It's so dope down here. All right. Okay. Well, okay, Genesita, I love you.
I love you, Tim.
Thank you for being on.
Thank you for having me.
You're amazing.
You're more amazing.
Oh, we're gonna go another 10 minutes talking about each other.
And no, really, and I'm so proud of you. I'm so
Thank
godly proud of
you.
you. And your journey has been remarkable to watch and to see how you don't let grass grow under your feet. You're not afraid to step out on faith. You are constantly evolving, and eyes have not seen, nor have ears heard, neither has it entered into the hearts of men the things God has in store for you.
Thank
For
you.
you, obedient son. My God.
Thank you. I received that.
My God.
Okay, I love you.
Okay.
All right. Love y'all. Till next time. Season finale. Peace.
Deuces.